Hi, folks. Back for another movie review tonight. Yes, I got the glasses on. It was just a joke. Uh, Tonight we're going to talk about a very special movie tonight, Elvira's Haunted Hills movie, which came out in 2001. It's got a lot of really nice people, good character actors working in this movie. You got Mary Scheer, you got Scott Atkinson, you got Richard O'Brien from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you got Elvira herself, Cassandra Peterson. God, you got, oh my God, it's got a really good cast. They all play this movie for complete laughs. It's basically set in 1851. It's a takeoff and a send-off of all those Roger Corman type movies from the 60s and stuff. Those type of movies. Vincent Price movies. House of Usher and The Pit and the Pendulum and stuff like that. It tries to. If you like Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein, you'll like this movie because this movie's actually, of course, this one's filmed in color, and it's basically just a send off. It's just spooky. It's got creepy stuff. It's got flashbacks to the past. Richard O'Brien, he's like the master of this castle or something, and I'm not sure. Elvira and her assistant get called in because they're basically nitwits, and they come to the castle, of course, and I think they're like traveling performers or something. I'm not sure exactly. I wasn't really looking at all what was going on. I was kind of looking more at Elvira most of the time. You know what I mean, guys? But the rest of the cast is really good. You got Heather. Oh God, what's her name? Heather Hopper. She plays this little chambermaid in the castle, and she's always looks like she's ready to die. She's always starting to gag, and there's one point in the movie where she's coughing so much she spits a piece of her lung and it hits Elvira. And Elvira just, oh my God, it's disgusting, man. She's kind of like one of those people who I can't think of the disease that they fall asleep and it almost looks like they're dead, and so a lot of people are worried about the premature burial type stuff. So it's kind of like spoofing all those type of movies. Elvira is basically just herself, of course, and her dopey mule, Zuzu. And she's actually quite funny. And you got Scott Atkinson, of course. He plays the slimeball, is in cahoots with Mary Scheer. Richard O'Brien's wife or something in the movie, and he's just a slimeball. He just wants to. Him and Mary Scheer want to just off Richard O'Brien because they want all of his money, his castle, and all that kind of stuff. And they don't even realize that he actually killed his first wife, and he actually bricked her up in one part of the castle, alive, like getting bricked up alive behind a wall, it shows flashbacks to that part, it's kind of funny, actually. She's screaming. Of course, she looks like Elvira. That's why Rich O'Brien kind of likes Elvira, because she resembles his deceased ex-wife. Of course, he murdered her. I can't remember what she did. I think, she was cheating on him. So basically, he killed her lover, and then he basically chained her to the wall, and then bricked her up, and in front of her, stuff like that. Being buried alive. So of course, she's been dead for 20 years, but her ghost is still floating around the house, and she's excuse me. Excuse me. It's actually a pretty entertaining movie. And so Richard O'Brien was, remember him from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. He plays Count Succubus or something like that. I can't remember exactly what his name is, but he's always, he has afflictions. Like he can't stand loud noises or bright lights and stuff. He's always wearing sunglasses and black clothing. And, he's actually quite good in this movie. He plays this completely over the top. Do all the actors in this movie. And here, I'll show you the cover. There's the cover, of course, right there. Yeah. I wish I could give you a more in-depth review, but I don't want to give these away too much. If you like really great comedy like Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein, or this movie, or Elvira's Mistress Dark movie, you'll like this movie. I think this Haunted Hills is actually better than Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein. This one is probably you know, has a lot of dry humor, a lot of one-liners, this movie. You know, has a lot of bus shots, you know, a lot of campy humor, campy sex, stuff like that. It's got, actually the sets in this movie are pretty good. You know, it looks like it was filmed in a real castle. I'm not exactly sure. It's supposed to be taking place in maybe 1851 over in Eastern Europe or something, maybe Romania. I'm not exactly sure. Here's the back of it. You know, Elvira, Cassandra Peterson does a really good job doing these movies. I kind of wish she would have done more of these movies. This one came out in 2002 or 2001, like I said, and that was like 15 years ago or 14 years ago. And I don't understand why she hasn't done more movies in between that period and present time. And her first movie and this movie, you know, Mistress and Haunted Hills. I think she could have done some more movies. I don't know. Maybe she was just working on her TV show and making all these guest appearances at, you know, Comic-Con and all these kind of different venues around the country, around the world, you know, where fans get together and, you know this place, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I wish I could talk. That's what I get for not getting enough sleep last night. Here's the back cover of it. Yeah. I mean, this movie's got a lot of funny laughs in it. You know, it's really creepy and atmospheric. Of course, there's the Pit and the Pendulum dungeon down in the basement where Elvira at the end is going to get cut in half, you know, because Richard O'Brien despises her because she looks too much like his murdered wife. You know, he's got her tied up on the Pit and the Pendulum, you know, and the thing is swinging back and forth, of course. And of course, the big stud in the stable that runs the castle, you know, he's the stable stud. He can't speak English, so they dub in his language, you know, like dub in English. Basically, it's so stupid. He's actually from that part of the world, but he can't speak English, so they dub it in, and it's just so noticeable. They did this on purpose because they wanted him to be so stupid. You know, he kind of looks like Fabio, really. You know, it's just 6 feet tall, long flowing hair, muscles. Not as many muscles as me, but you know, he's got muscles. And he basically falls in love with Elvira. Of course, they kind of have an affair during the movie, you know, and stuff like that. And so he rescues her at the end, you know, or he tries to anyway. You know, this movie's you got to see this movie. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but this movie is actually pretty good. The first time I did watch this movie, I kind of thought it was just okay. But then I've watched it recently a couple different times, and actually it kind of grows on you. It's a really well done movie. It's a great throwback to all the 1960s type Roger Corman, Vincent Price type movies. You know, but nothing but humor and stupid campy crap and over the top stuff and, you know, stuff like that. And it's, you know, I think Elvira, of course, I mean, what more can be said about Elvira? You know, I've been a fan of hers for, oh, God, you know, a long time. I can't explain how many years, but it's been a long time, like pretty much everybody in the world, don't you think? Yeah, and there's the back cover. I don't know if I showed. There's Richard O'Brien right there. That's what he looks like most of the time. He's a dopey guy. He's kind of like Vincent Price. You know, except he's bald and he's just stupid. There's Elvira right there, and then, you know, I don't know, what the hell is that? Oh, it's just outtakes and photos from different cast members and stuff, Scott Atkinson and stuff like that. And there's the tombstones. This has all the extras and everything that you get on this. This is a basic DVD. It's not a Blu-ray or nothing, you know, but this is actually a pretty funny movie, folks. I would recommend this completely. In fact, I'm going to watch this again tonight because I think this movie is going to get a pretty good rating from me. You know, let's talk about Elvira. You know, I've been a huge fan of Elvira for, oh, God, 20, 30 years. I'm dating myself. I don't know. You know, I really like what she's done with her character. I think she's just a beautiful woman. Cassandra Peterson is a real name, of course. You all know that. And, of course, this is just her alter ego, Elvira. But she's made, you know, of course, you all know she had the TV show. I'm not sure if she still has that TV show where she basically spoofs movies, horror movies, laying on a couch. You know, really bad horror movies, you know. You know, just the worst ones she could possibly find, you know, and just just comments on them every couple of minutes, every little outtakes and stuff like that, and she just says something smart and creepy about the movies and stupid about the movies. You know what I'm talking about. We've all seen Elvira's, TV show and stuff like that. I don't even know if she's actually still doing that, because I know she does a lot of those those appearances at different horror venues and conventions around the world, and stuff like that. So I'm sure she might still be doing this. I should find out what she's up to. I know she's about maybe around 60 years old now or something like that. I'm not sure if she wants to do any more movies, but I think she should do more movies. I mean, just keep playing this whole thing for laughs, I mean, she's been so successful in her career that why stop now? And she's still a very beautiful looking woman, I think she could... I wish she would have made more movies. That's what I mentioned before. She only put these 2 movies out. Oh, God. She should have made at least 3 or 4 or 5 movies. I think that would have been so much more fun. She should have concentrated on these movies, because maybe it wasn't very lucrative for her or something like that. So maybe she just, maybe she's got one in the works right now. I'm going to go to her internet file and find out what she's up to. Maybe she's doing some voiceover work. I don't know. But let's get back to this movie, because I'm babbling on about Elvira, but I always liked Elvira because she was just so beautiful. In that makeup and that wig, in the long, sleeky silk dress, and her smart little mouth and everything. She was just, she's just beautiful, just beautiful. I mean, she's, I better get off that subject before people think I'm going weirdo. But we could talk about Elvira's first movie too, Mistress of the Dark, which is set in modern day. I can't remember when that came out. This came out in 2001, and the second movie, I think, the first movie came out maybe 15 years early, Mistress of the Dark, which I actually have in my my living room, and or my dungeon, as Leatherhead or Penny says, So that movie's actually pretty good too. That's got a lot of funny stuff. She basically inherits, or a great aunt died or something like that. So she basically goes back to this snooty little New England town. And of course, everybody hates her. Everybody's so conservative, and they're basically, they don't understand her lifestyle. She's like a Las Vegas showgirl. She's waiting for a big break, but she inherits this will and stuff. And of course, there's supernatural elements to that movie too. And of course, all the boys in the movie, in the town, and the men in the town love her. All the women hate her because they're all frumpy looking, and she looks like this, And of course, that I won't tell you too much about that movie. It's kind of similar to this, except it's basically set maybe 20 years ago. Present time, pretty much, Boy, Jesus Christ. We're on 13 minutes and I don't even know what to talk about anymore. Anyway, I would recommend that you check out this movie. Seriously. I could talk about a bunch of different scenes. At the end of the movie, too. It has a similar ending to The House of Usher. Of course, really bad special effects. Of course, the house is, on a fault line or something, and the castle, and basically what's happening is there's cracks running up and down the walls and in the floors of the castle, and it's getting worse and worse, kind of like The House of Usher. And so at the end, she escapes, of course, with her with Zuzu, her buddy, and of course the castle cracks in half. It starts to sink into the ground. It's so creepy looking. I mean, it's so phony looking, but and she makes a smart little remark about, boy, it's a good thing we had this high budget. Look at those special effects, she just says something like that. So it's really terrible. And it just kind of like, it's like splits in half, and one half starts to fall into the ground, kind of like it sinks, like a giant sinkhole or something like that. So, it's terrible. You can see it's just a horrible, horrible animation, Of course, they couldn't afford, the really nice effects, but, she did a pretty good job in this movie, actually. With the money that she did. I think she said she invested like $1 million into this movie or something like that. And, of course, she writes all of her movies with John Paragon, her writing partner. So I'm sure, he... God, I got something in my nose. I think it's... Okay, never mind. Anyway, she writes she writes with other people like John Paragon. That's her writing partner, and you know, they write movies and scripts and, you know, TV shows and stuff like that. So he's been in a bunch of movies too. I'm sure you probably would recognize his name instantly. But I think they came up with a really good script here on Haunted Hills. You know, even though it is a ripoff to the old 1960s movies, but they played completely for laughs. You know, and you've got to expect that. So when you watch this movie, you're going to kind of go, you know, this kind of reminds me of something like Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein. Duh. Of course, and, you know, Roger Corman and Vincent Price movies and stuff like that. But that's what I like about this movie. It's, of course, I love Vincent Price and stuff like that. And this movie is a tribute to all those type of movies from particularly the 1960s. And I think everybody who kind of grew up in that era, I wasn't, you know, I was just a really young kid back then, but, you know, I seen all the reruns on TV and, you know, the Saturday afternoon matinees and Chiller Theater or whatever it was. You know, all those horror TV shows that used to do movies back in the 60s and 70s and stuff like that. You kind of got a sense of, you know, of Roger Corman, Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, all those kind of people, you know, and Hammer movies and stuff like that, and Hammer pictures and stuff like that, you know. So this kind of stuff really appeals to me, you know, that kind of filmmaking, you know, and stuff like that. But, oh, we should just end this one because I'm just babbling on, babbling on, and I don't even know. I could tell you about a lot of different scenes in this movie, but, you know, I don't want to give it away too much because lately I've been kind of giving away some scenes in movies and people are kind of getting irritated about, oh, don't tell us about that, Spidey. We want to discover this for ourselves. And so, of course, this one isn't really, it's campy horror. It's you know, it's I don't think anybody, well, of course, some people die at the end. The stable boy dies at the end, her lover, you know, of course, Rich O'Brien dies at the end, so does Mary Scheer and Scott Atkinson, because he basically wants to steal the jewels. He doesn't even care about Mary Scheer, his lover, Rich O'Brien's wife in this movie, so, you know, he's just greedy. He's just a greedy Englishman, and just wants to, well, I shouldn't say that. Well, some people might get pissed about that. I don't care. That's what he plays. He actually does a really good job as the lover of Mary Scheer in this movie, and Rich O'Brien's wife. You know, so what more can I say about this movie? You know, really not much to say about this movie. I would just say go pick this movie up, put it in your collection because it's actually worth having in your collection. I would. You know, if somebody tells you that this movie's a piece of crap, it's not a piece of crap. It's actually a pretty well done, spoofy, campy type movie. You know, throwback to all those movies. So, like I said before, I truly like this better than Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein. That movie, to me, was kind of, well, I shouldn't even say this because some people get mad, but I prefer this movie to that movie any day of the week. Maybe because Mel Brooks has, you know, billions of dollars to work with, you know, and Cassandra Peterson only has $1 million to work with, you know. But for my money, this movie really, you know, packs a wallop for its money. Did that make any sense? I don't think so. We should rate this movie before I keep talking. I think I keep repeating myself. Now I have to stop doing that. I'm getting as bad as Penny. Oh, where in the hell is Penny anyway? He's back there whining or something, or boozed out in pills or something. I don't know. Boozed? Did I say boozed out in pills? Knocked out in pills. Oh. Anyway, we'll show you the cover one more time. There it is. It's kind of a cool cover. I like that. There's the back side again. I already showed that to you once and maybe 80 times already. Of course. I repeat myself a lot, folks. Just ignore it. So we're going to rate this movie. I always rate my movies 1 to 10 spiderwebs, and we are going to give this movie, I can't give it a 10. I can't give it a 9. I can't give it, I'm going to give it an 8.5 spiderwebs. I think it's better than her first movie, but her first movie's good too. We're going to give this 8.5 spiderwebs because I think it's worth having in your collection. If you're an Elvira fan, you'll love this movie as you will with her very first movie, Mistress of the Dark. So this is what we're going to give it, 8.5. Did I say 8? Yeah. Okay, we'll do 8.5. That's an awful high rating. Okay, let's go to 8. I can't go any higher than 8, just because it's far from perfect, but it's funny as hell. Very funny, and just it's a good late night movie for just laying in bed and watching. You know, if you just want to watch something stupid and funny, it's not a bad movie to watch. So we're gonna give this 8 Spiderwebs, just because I'm an Elvira fan. So we're gonna end this webcast, and comment in our box below and comments on the YouTube channel or the Facebook channel, you know, or wherever we might be posting this webcast. Tell me what you think, and I'm sure you're going to disagree with the rating, but I don't care. It's my rating, and I can do what I want. That's what I rated at. So we'll see you guys later, and I'm not sure what we're going to review next, but we'll find something really good for you. Okay, till next time, later. Bye!